I'm looking down valley at the top of Sow Milk Gill, and you can see that the little beck is flowing down a V really, so that's clearly been eroded vertically by fluvio-glacial. There'd have been a huge amount of meltwater, so it's an awful lot more vertical erosion than it has in the last 10,000 years. And surrounding the front of this hanging valley, you've got all this sort of hummocky moraines, both to the left and to the right. Now you need to be adding these to your base maps as we go on, using a symbol and adding that symbol to the key. So if we look up valley, right in the distance you can see the far U, which shows the entrance to the Corrie East El Tarn. But in the foreground we've kind of got like another little basin, an infilled basin. And you can see, hopefully, there's lots of these little hummocks at different scales. There's one just there in front of us. There's a larger one there in the centre and a tiny little one there. But they're sort of all along this flat infilled basin. And you can sort of identify them by the different vegetation that's on the top of them. Most of the valley floor is very, very boggy. It's got lots of sphagnum moss. You can see that it's sort of draining away into the main channel. But those are much drier because they've got bracken on top of them. We can tell that by that. So it's obviously not a glacial deposition, because that would be glacial till, unsorted, poor drainage. You can see that it's obviously had some sort of sorting because the pore spaces must be larger to allow drainage. And that suggests it's fluvio-glacial deposition. Most of the landforms that are remaining from fluvio-glacial are depositional. However, on the photograph that I've just shown you, hopefully, you're seeing some erosional landforms as well. So what happened here? At the end of the last ice age, the glacier would have been melting very rapidly from the snout, from the front, but also from the tops. And what sometimes happens is, because it's melted from the surface, it actually cuts the section of glacier off here from its source, so it becomes stagnant. So in this bowl here, you would have had a stagnant area of ice that would be eroding. Lots of surface meltwater streams, supraglacial, and they would have run into crevasses and moulins, depositing any of the material that they'd have been transporting and collecting on their way. Those would have collected in those crevasses, and as the ice actually melted completely, those collections of gravels would have just been left as a big mound, and these are then called the Kames that are deposited here. If that happened at the side of the glacier, they would have formed Kame terraces along the edges of the valleys.